Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing on the October 23rd Al-Anon readings, Encouraged to Change, and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. We'll begin with a little time for myself. October 23rd, and I'm just going to take a moment to look it over. The question of the day is, what can I do to keep an open mind when others share at meetings? And the reading starts out by describing how at meetings, even though people who attend have one similarity, that we've all encountered someone's alcohol abuse or substance abuse. But there are also a lot of things that are not exactly the same. And if we keep an open mind, we realize that everyone is capable of growth and change. When we listen, truly, deeply listen, it can help us to grow and change ourselves. We can take what we like and leave the rest. And we always turn inwards to find what will work for us, and that is what Al-Anon teaches us to do. Do what works for us. In today's reminder, it's reminding us to keep an open mind. And the quote from Reaching for Personal Freedom is describing how there are many different options. So when we think of alternatives, different points of view, different ways to look at things, it helps us to open our minds and to grow. So back to the question of the day, what can I do to keep an open mind when others share at meetings? My favorite one is take what I like and leave the rest. So if I go into it with a calm attitude and not a kind of defensive stance, then I'm more likely to relax and actually listen. And I think what helps me do that is compassion, realizing that although there seem to be differences in certain things, that for me, I truly believe that most people want the same things. They just have different approaches to getting those things, which is what causes many of us to argue and disagree with each other. But so that helps me I also, sometimes what I do is I picture adults as babies and their parents holding them and loving them. And sometimes that just makes me realize how vulnerable we all are and how we just need to love each other. and take care of each other. And there is kind of a funny thing. I don't know if you remember the Brady Bunch, but if you do, you may remember the classic episode where Marcia Brady was nervous to take her driving test to get her driver's license. And someone told her to just picture the driving instructor naked, or not naked, but in his underwear. And so that relaxed her enough to take the test. So you can do that. Another one is just, and this is kind of on the same lines, and I heard someone else say this too, but I don't remember who it was. But remembering that everyone uses the bathroom and just picturing them in the bathroom just kind of evens the playing field. Like everybody does that, so everyone's equal, everyone's got the same voice, the same value. So that's just what I was thinking of today. So what can you do to keep an open mind when others share at meetings? Excuse me. A little time for ourselves, a little time for myself, and now we're going to move on to Courage to Change, October 23rd. It's my cousin Steve's birthday today, by the way. He's 3 weeks younger than I am. He's such a wonderful person. I really love him a lot. All right, I'm going to take a minute to read this over. This is about, I have a tab on this page. This is about having choices. This is about not doubting ourselves when we feel like we're doing everything right, but there are still issues. It starts off by talking about how this person's partner got sober, but there were still many problems. There were a lot of arguments, there was a lot of unhappiness, and this person felt very hopeless. So it's reminding us that sobriety brings change, but not always the change that we expect. And Al-Anon reminds us that we don't have to be defensive. We don't have to prove that we're right. There's still insanity definitely in alcoholism, in all forms of it, even in sobriety and recovery. So it's best to detach. And we don't have to take it personally. We don't have to doubt ourselves. So today's reminder reminds us that we have choices when we're in an uncomfortable situation. We can say the Serenity Prayer to ourselves. We can make an Al-Anon call. There are many other options. We can call our sponsor. We can detach. We can remove ourselves physically from the situation. And the quote is from In All Our Affairs, and it's just reminding us that we always have choices. There are always options. And that is a really good reminder. There was a time for me when I didn't think I had any options left, and I felt very desperate and very hopeless. And I actually thought about ending my own life. That was in 2010, and I finally found Al-Anon in 2013. I think that there's a lot, I'm thinking a lot of things in my head right now. I'm specifically thinking of something that happened at the thrift store today with two people getting into an argument, two volunteers getting into an argument, and I was thinking of texting them both just because it made me uncomfortable, and I'm thinking I should definitely not do that. It's not funny, but like I just wanted to let them know that I love them both and that I hope they can work it out, but it is none of my business. I just felt bad because someone left in anger, and then the person who was still volunteering was talking about the person, and of course the person wasn't there to defend themselves, and I don't want to be involved, but they weren't the person who was talking, and then other people were kind of chiming in, and I couldn't help. I made a mistake. I couldn't help but say a couple of things in support of the person who left because they were true. But see, I don't have to. It says right here that I don't have to prove whether I'm right. It has nothing to do with anything. So, aren't these readings great? Like this is perfect timing for me to read this. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to take it personally. That's courage to change. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity oh my gosh, I have to start over. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.